Hi, I'm Liane Alcasoj from Studio Detail Line, and this is Kavya Seth from Studio Room. Well, our journey at Rasa has been 10 months now, and I think we've met like incredible souls out there. Our idea of starting this podcast has been on our mind for the longest time, and now we feel that it's time that whatever we've been putting into practice, whatever we've been learning, should be documented, and this is like one of the first that we are beginning with. I think this is something that we wanted to put out to all of you, for you all to understand our journey, understand who we are and why we started Rasa. Yeah.
Absolutely. We've had such incredible learnings along the way. We've done a bunch of sessions in
Yeah.
Bangalore for the past few months, and we really thought it would be important to document this, to take this to the tiniest places of the country. But before we delve into that, Liane, tell us a little bit about your journey so far. What is your story?
Oh, okay. So I studied architecture at Goa College of Architecture, and post that I came to Bangalore. I worked with almost three different companies, yeah, I think after that I started on my own. The journey so far has been, I mean, a lot of experiences. I would say like the beginning of Studio Detail Line has been like that song, like one step forward, few steps back. I always connect to that because that has been like a little bit of progress, a little bit of setbacks, but yeah, I mean a lot of learning through that, a lot of hardships, a lot of like and that's one of the origins of why the idea of Rasa has come into place as well. With respect to Studio Detail Line, and why I started individually, was because I felt that I really enjoyed, or I was very passionate about the path that while designing you get to meet such wonderful souls, you get to connect to them, you get to see the world through different perspectives, and you're not sitting in that comfort zone where I mean have one kind of thought process and you're moving towards that. You're liberated with different ideation, different viewpoints, and I think I really enjoy that in our field. And I mean that has been great. Like I wake up every day saying that every day is going to be something different. It's not going to be the same routine. There is something that oh yeah, that's something different, or yeah. And that has been my journey so far. I mean, now we're a small team of six. Six designers on our community, right? I mean, on our company. Yeah. And I mean, we're growing from there. That's my story.
Lovely.
Well, yeah. I think each one of us has a different story to tell, and it comes from certain aspects, certain life decisions that we make. I think you started Studio Roo in 2018, right? And before that, you were in your favorite space, like place that was Italy.
Yeah, I think it's been a long journey, if I can say the least. I am an interior designer by education and profession, and I've been doing design for over a decade now. I have worked in a bunch of studios in India and a few studios in Italy, and it is so different, right? But there is a common thread that connects everything. All of the studios that I have worked for have been ever so passionate about design, about making an impact, designing some really beautiful spaces across the world, and it's been a really nice learning curve throughout. When I moved back in 2015, I interviewed with a bunch of places, and I really resonated with the ideas and principles at the office I chose to work with. And I knew that there was like learning cannot stop, right? What school and college teaches you is just the top surface. There's so much self-discovery to do. There's so much on-field learning that education somehow does not fully cover. So I spent time meeting a bunch of peers, a bunch of mentors, people our age, people much older, some veterans in the industry. There's been so much learning along the way, and I founded Studio Roo in 2018. And we've done some really fun residential spaces through the years. We're slowly diversifying. We're doing some hotels, we're doing some restaurants, some clubhouses, some offices slowly. And mid 2023, I've actually onboarded a partner, which is going really great.
Oh,
So
that's good.
similar to what you said, every day is a new learning. You sleep with so much contentment that you've become a much stronger person. You've learned so much. You've tried to create impact in some way, and I'm so excited to see where we individually take our practices and how we blossom this little baby
Yeah.
of ours, Rasa.
Yeah, I mean, it does take a lot of commitment to run a practice, plus an idea that you want to put out there, right?
Yeah.
We've been struggling with our time schedules and
Yeah.
how to manage our practices, plus have it's like two kids, right?
It's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, tell me a little bit more about your initial days at Studio Roo. Yeah, and why you why you started it. The meaning behind the name. I think it's a lovely name. Yeah.
Thank you, Lian. So I was actually very happy at the firm I was working at, and I spent 3 good years there. Met some wonderful people, built some really good relationships, and you know how it is with designers. You have friends and family and acquaintances reaching out, asking for help of very varied scales. And as a person, I believe in doing the one thing that you are doing perfectly, right? So don't put one leg on each boat and then fall flat into the river. So for very long, I refrained from offering help or making weekends available for anything else. And slowly it felt like there might never be the right time to take this leap. But we started receiving a bunch of inquiries, and I said, okay, the right project, so as to say, has come along, and it felt like the right time. I met a wonderful man who's now my husband, and he's been my source of encouragement through it all. So it was a big decision, and it happened very organically, to say the least. So we did a bunch of very small projects in the beginning. It was a mixed bag, rather. We did one bare shell right at the beginning, so there were learnings from the civil stage to challenges on site, building your own teams, your contractors. I think I've said this on a bunch of platforms before, but we transformed a 1-bedroom, a 1 guest room in a home early on, and I remember this was a contractor that I had worked with, really trusted, who took a lump sum of an advance and absconded.
Oh, shit.
So it was me, my tears for weeks together on site, and which is what we said early on, right? The learnings have been all kinds of magnitudes.
Yes, definitely.
So from there, it's been a snowball effect. I think this profession teaches you to grow a thick skin.
Yes, definitely.
To follow your gut, to choose projects and work with people who are nice to you, who you vibe with, whose energy vibes with yours. And I don't think there's ever been any looking back, but I've always had this keen interest in upskilling, in learning more. I enjoy listening to podcasts. I'm a nerd in that sense. I follow a bunch of people on Instagram, try and understand their stories. So to me, I feel like the learning should not stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? The ideology is. But I do think that we resonate on that front. And if you can tell us a little bit more about the values that you bring to Studio Detail Line, the ethics, the values, and what your vision with your baby is.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, when we started the first few projects, for me, it's always I want someone to look at the design and feel okay, it's something different. Yeah, it's something that, I've not seen before. something that has a storyline behind, or something that we can push the contractors where they come back and tell us that, hey, this is not possible. And that's for me, like, the biggest happiness, because I'm like, oh, it's not done before. Wow. It gives me like even more challenging times to say, like, do it. Yeah, because I want it done.
Yeah.
And if it's not done and they're saying it's not done before, it can be done. Yeah. And it will be something different, right? So for me, it's always that, I want to push ourselves like slowly, like, baby steps to that extent where I feel and I strongly believe that, moving out of your comfort zone, trying different things, not only enables you to grow as a person professionally, but also personally.
For sure.
Yeah. And those are like, some strong values, I believe. Like, I feel that in my workspace, and I keep saying it, like, your intake in life is your output in your designs.
So beautiful.
Yeah. And that's when I say that when we are all working together, there shouldn't be this kind of discomfort where you're working with, pressure that you have to prove something. It is a design field. It's something that you're creating out of, a good feel. So if your work environment, that you are, is accommodating, allowing you to voice your opinions, that's when you'll be free to come up with something. Yeah. So those are some few things that I follow. Apart from that, I feel that design should be fun and lots of fun. Yeah. I think that
Your work speaks that. It shows the fun that you have while designing. So, Leanne, Rasa has been your brainchild. How did it start and what was the idea behind creating it?
I think there's if I have to express, there's so much to say about it. But yeah, I would say that, the initial struggles got to me, and I was like, who do I go up to? Like, who do I ask? And a lot of times we fear to ask our even mentors, because we are like, okay, you know what, they're too busy, why bother them, right? And that was something that kept going, and I was like, why am I making so many mistakes? Why should I be doing like, this needs to be taught, like that is something that is missing. And through my mistakes, I definitely was learning a lot, and I was like, getting like thick-skinned about a lot of things, being wary about my surroundings, and that's when I said, okay, you know what, as a group in the office and as a team, sorry, to use the right word, we should start learning together. And it shouldn't be that I am learning and it's stuck with me. Like, I'm doing this mistake, but I want to share it out. So we said, okay, let's do this every Saturday. Let's try going out or like meeting or, going to a new vendor. It started with that as an idea. And we were like, okay, you know what, if we are doing that, let's just like accumulate a lot of like-minded people who want to also learn and who might probably not have, I'm not saying guts, but might not have that resources to ask the right question.
They could be introverts.
Yeah, they could be introverts. They could also not have the right resource to reach out. But they might want that information. So where do we go for that? And I wanted to get as personal, like, with being totally vulnerable and speak out from your heart to any senior architect that I wanted to meet, and I wanted to discuss about business and how we can make architecture interior business into a fruitful one, sustainable one. And that was like, I said, there are so many plugins to run a business. And I believe that, somewhere we're lacking behind in our curriculum to teach us that. Since, it's too late now to go back and study, might as well the people who have like, now started their practice or are even working with different firms, it's time for them to learn. And I think this initiation would help them in some way. Sadly, we couldn't document a lot of things that we learned. But yeah, it's great that we're starting this podcast, and from here we move on to documenting a lot of things that we're learning together. We're learning as a team, we're learning as a community, and I think then it's going to be an easy way to reach out not only to people in India but also outside India.
Absolutely.
I I think we both just connected, right? If we speak about, like, I think it was the second panel that we had.
Yeah.
And I remember when you entered, and I don't know if you remember that, I was like panicking because the panel was there was no one, remember? You're like, oh, it's okay, the phone is good now. Yeah, and it did take probably another 40 minutes for them to
And what an impactful panel that was. The who's who of the Bangalore community were on the panel that day. Architects with years of experience and so much knowledge to share.
So much of knowledge to share, and they were quite open. We often feel that architects are not open to sharing what they've learned, their business, the numbers. But I think through this journey we felt that people are quite open, helpful. They want us to learn.
Yeah, you just have to ask sometimes. It often feels like architects are on a treadmill. They're running so fast with 50,000 things to tackle, 50 files to fight outside, and sometimes all you need is to slow down, ask the right question at the right moment, and document that information.
I always wanted to ask you this question. Right. I remember we were sitting in the panel, and like in the Hindi movies, our eyes met kind of scene where you just said, we'll talk about it. What was running in your mind, or did you also have a similar idea? And probably it was just that you were busy with Studio Rule, that you may have taken few steps back or whatever. But I felt that there was a thought process, because you looked at me and you were like, what, we need to talk.
So I think before starting Rule, like I mentioned some time ago, I did meet a bunch of peers to understand opening an office, the right location, the right rents, growing a team. And I was talking to lots of younger studios at the time because it seemed a little bit more relevant. And then slowly over the years I did meet people to understand how their businesses operate. And I always did that at a one-on-one level, right? But that day on the panel, and we had the likes of Arjun Nambasad, George Seaman, George Ramparam on the panel with me. We were the only 5-year-old baby sitting on stage, and I was
like, you had so much to share.
I was the only panelist sitting there with pen and paper. I was taking notes as standard because there was so much to learn, and I think that's when it happened. When our eyes met, I was like, this is incredible, and everything that was spoken in that one room that day was there was so much depth in it, there was so much knowledge that we had to take it out there and help more people. I think there were numbers people shared, or things about their processes, how they operate within an organization. And like you said some time ago, why aren't we taught this? Why aren't we taught this as part of our curriculums? And if we are talking about it today, let's not stop the learning at Studio Rule and Studio Detail Line. Let's take it to 10,000 studios out there, and not just today, but in 2030, for 2050, right? We can still have youngsters on the other side of the internet Googling information about how much of your revenue goes into running a company, how much of your revenue should be your savings. I have met a bunch of people in events in the past, at a party, casually talking, discussing, and I've come to realize that sometimes 20-year-old practices, 30-year-old practices are not looking at numbers. We're doing this out of passion, so much so that it's starting to become a hobby. It's very stressful to function like that. Or there are practices where if you have a husband or a wife in another industry, they're able to fund their kids or their living a lot better than an architect or an interior designer. That should not be the case, because we have blood, sweat and tears. Like, we're giving this our all, but we're not really able to make money. And why is that?
Right? So I do see that we connected so organically, and I think it was that Sunday morning that we went for breakfast. I still have that first picture with us together.
So many notes, so many ideas,
scribbling, saying that even I thought this, even you thought that. It just went back and forth, and I think I think the idea volunteers were just like-minded.
Yeah.
We just knew that, probably not only us, but there must be like thousands of people out there who think that way, right? And probably they must have not pushed themselves to start this. Yeah. But and hence we are looking at starting a community as well. Yeah.
So we partnered at Rasa about 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And like Lian mentioned, it hasn't been easy because we have our own individual babies to take care of. We've been doing this after hours, on weekends, been bouncing ideas, getting on calls, video calls, and over the past 8 months, we've already had some incredible talent at
I
Rasna.
definitely agree to that. Yeah.
We've been speaking about how to approach magazines. We've had an editor on board. We've been speaking about contracts and what kind of clauses go into the contract.
Yeah.
We've been doing a couple of walkthroughs with some eminent architects in Bangalore, and it's been bootstrapped so far.
I think we're going on the right track. I don't know what you think about the next year that we have to plan around, right? I think that it's going to go to the next level, right? Yeah, that's what we feel.
Of course, for sure.
Yeah.
Lian, what does Rasa Samvada mean?
So Rasa Samvada in Sanskrit means fruitful conversations, and it came from a bunch of us just sitting and saying that okay, let's we have many more names, and I think this clicked. So yeah.
Lovely. So Lian, how do you think Rasa has impacted you in the past few months?
I think as an individual, right? I mean, I come across as a bold person, okay?
You are.
Yeah. No, but there is this one side, before I even ask a question, I have rehearsed it so many times in my head. So I'll be like, should I not, kind of thing. But now I'm like, you know what? At the most, I'm just not going to get an answer. Just ask the question, right? There is no right or wrong about what you want to know. You want some information, ask the person, and I'm sure people are out there to help. That is one thing that I realize. But as also public speaking with respect to meeting new people and able to just connect. I think there's so much that it has taught me. It has different people's perspective in life. It has just opened my eyes to so much broader perspectives about things around me, which I probably did not have knowledge about. And I think as that person, I feel I've grown as an individual. I feel that it has helped me. It has helped me to move out again. I really enjoy moving out of my comfort zone. But to do that, I think Rasa also has pushed me at least as an individual. And today I do see myself asking the right questions, approaching people. Then even if I want to understand something, go that extra mile of just calling someone out for probably a coffee or a drink, and just get to know things. That learning has not stopped. And so every day I'm like, okay, this is great. What about you?
I think over the past few panels, I've made some really great friends, and I've invited some really great friends onto the panel as well. There's been so much of learning on an emotional level, at a level of running your business, practical advice, just even networking with the community during or post these events have been very meaningful. There have been people who've reached out to seek mentorship. So they've been connections on so many levels, but there's one thing that I haven't openly admitted or said out loud before that I'd really like to talk about. I think the day that I was on the panel and we were talking to George and we were talking to Arjun, I think they really emphasized also on how their partnerships have helped them so much. And I think it is there at that panel that there was that little seed that was sown in my mind that, hey, actually, if the right person comes along and there is ever an opportunity like that to run a practice with somebody, it would be a great idea, right? It would be a revolution for Studio Root some way. And here we are shooting this podcast 8 months into that conversation, and I'm like, maybe, at that point, I understood pros, cons. It might have just been a passing, conversation, but somewhere I feel like it stuck with me. So it's these little moments that you don't know when they're going to impact your life. Yeah, so it's been a great yeah, it's been a great learning.
What do you think? Like, how do you foresee Rasa growing?
I feel like one thing that you and I have spoken about a lot is the fact that there is this gap in the curriculum.
Yeah.
And what we're really trying to do with Rasa is to protect designers, to empower them and educate them in advance.
Yeah.
We've had situations where, I'm talking to a bunch of peers and they've taken someone to court or someone's taken them to court and people are in this situation for the first time and they don't know how to deal with it. To me, Rasa is that platform that people can reach out to and say, hey, I'm in this situation, can I get help, right? We're trying to build this community. We're slowly trying to take this community into a platform where dialogues become a lot easier.
Yeah.
For the future, we're also trying to see if we can create an elective in some sense where before a student graduates from school, can we learn some more information about these practical problems, right? How do you draft a contract? You're not going to go out of a firm suddenly and it's not going to come to you from nowhere, right? But maybe some of these topics can be covered, looking at accounts. How often should you manage your business? The accounting aspect of it, invoicing, HR, admin, things like that we're trying to put into an elective together. We're also trying to create this podcast.
Yeah. Which is long overdue.
Where we kind of document this information that people can listen to and re-listen to in times.
I'm really super excited, like, the people we've lined up, the people we're speaking to, because I'm like, oh my god, like, we are going to have them, like, we can get so candid, we can ask them the right questions, and it will be so easy for all the people out there, right? To, like, just understand that, how things work, understand that, there are, like, tough times, but you're together in this.
Absolutely.
And that little comfort that you feel, that, you're not alone in this journey, everyone has gone through it. I think that all that putting together is going to help so many people, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What big plans do you think we should have with Rasa? Where do you see this going?
I mean, I'm sure we discussed this, and we said we're not going to stop here at just being in Bangalore or in Karnataka, and we have plans that probably in 2 years or 3 years time that we are going to seek mentorship or seek the right guidance from people and architects who have understood the practice completely different. I mean, India might be practicing architecture in a very different manner versus someone out there in Italy or in US or so. And I think that would be great, right? To have have great people on our panel in our podcast, I mean to say. And that is what I'm I think we're both focusing towards. I mean, slowly growing one step at a time, but I know we're going to go there.
For sure. And these are also topics that people haven't spoken about before. Like the panel discussion we did at our last event, which had an editor of a magazine, it had a photographer and a content creator, really dug deep into what our magazines look for, right? What are rejections normally based on? What are the pain points of a photographer? How to approach a content writer? And I'm not sure any of us have ever studied this throughout curriculum.
Like, see, to run an architecture or an interior practice, there's so many plugins.
Absolutely.
And how many hats are we going to wear while we design? And then we're not going to have the bandwidth to even sit and think something creative out there.
Correct.
If we're always going to talk about the struggles, always talk about the steps that we're going to take backward, just because we're going to face a lot of mistakes on our path. So if there are the right guidances out there, we have the content to just go through, understand, these things happen. A lot of awareness, you could use that word.
Absolutely.
Through these small podcasts, I think it's going to be absolutely great, wonderful, mind-blowing.
Create an impact. One panel at a time.
So we're going to have a rapid fire round now, that is Rapid Rasa. So guys, please keep it rapid.
Is there a hamper?
I think there's a hamper.
I'm going to get you guys coffee.
Works.
Okay.
Okay.
Wrong question.
Okay, what life lessons does being a designer teach you?
Grit, determination, and lots of patience.
Texting or talking?
Texting.
If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
I would go back to Italy in a heartbeat. 2014.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Empathetic, compassionate, passionate.
What's your last Google search?
It was something about the World Cup, the Cricket World Cup.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, on to you.
How?
Where do you find inspiration when you design?
I mean, which place or
Could be digital or
How on the hamper?
no chance? Like you're asking research or like a place that I exist?
either a place or digitally, wherever you find your inspiration.
It could be people.
Where or who?
Yeah.
Where?
I think it depends. It depends, like, if I've had an experience or so. I have this small book that I'll write about it. Probably I'll connect to that, or a little bit of.
Profound.
If not an architect, what other profession do you think you would be good? You would be a good fit at?
I think I would be a good politician.
What are the first 3 items on your bucket list?
Oh, first 3. Okay. I still have to do this skinny dipping. Yeah. Then, I've done it, but I have to do in one place which I suggest. What is the next? Oh, with profession, no? Like not
No,
personal?
anything.
Okay, fine. 2 more. The next one would be some kind of sports. Adventure.
And
Yeah. I have to go back to my bucket list. Oh, yeah, my bucket list. I definitely want to be like a part of TED Talks. Yeah.
Nice.
what's one superpower you would choose?
To be invisible. I could be in anyone's bathroom.
What was your last impulse buy?
What?
What was your last impulse buy?
I didn't understand that.
Your last impulsive buy.
Like
you
what
just
buy.
bought something impulsively.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's funny. I don't want to go to the gym, so I got this machine weight. It goes on your tummy and it says that you lose weight. Is it working? I have not tried it after buying it. I joined the gym post that.
What is one thing we would never guess about you?
Keep guessing.
Okay, now I'm going to ask this or that questions. So you could go at it at once or you could take turns.
At once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Napkins or french fries?
Both. You say neither. Should be like salad.
Glass half full or half empty?
Half full.
Half empty.
Books or movies?
The movies.
Dine in or dine out?
Dine out.
That's it for today, guys, and Talia's doing the hamper.
This was so fun. Before we end this podcast though, on behalf of Lian and me, thank you Anaga, thank you Isha. This has been so fun. Yeah, this has been so fun, and
Give me half of your coffee, okay?
for sure, half our coffee is yours. We can't wait to share a lot more coffee with a bunch more incredible minds through Rasa at this podcast.
And we're looking forward. We're looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be bigger than it is today. It's going to be bigger, better, so much more impactful. We're on to changing lives.
Stay tuned.